Well, hey everybody. Wow, Mike Hamilton shows up today in flannel. Must be cold, Mike.
It's been cold, man. We're not used to this. We have people in other like over in Idaho, and they're like under 6 feet of snow, and they're just
Mm.
laughing at us as we're freezing over here in 30-degree weather. Actually, it got
Yeah.
down to 20. It was pretty cold, and I
Yeah, I
think
mean
they're saying there may be freezing rain again today. So there's that.
I went skiing and it was negative 23 last weekend. So there is
Yeah,
that.
that's a
Now
self-inflicted wound. I'm sorry.
that is the good news is there were no lift lines. So,
Yeah, I bet.
it depends what you want out of your ski, right?
Yeah.
My kids didn't complain too much. All right. So important thing to note about today, we have a panel coming up today on the new tactics from ransomware gangs. The fact that, and we talked about this on one of the, I
Last
think 2
week.
weeks ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And last week, that the ransomware gangs are targeting individuals, the consumers, and not just the organizations that they're hitting. So we have a panel about that today. We have our friend Mike Borgia from Davis Wright Tremaine.
Hmm.
He's an attorney
Good guy.
and good guy, great guidance. So that'll be good.
Yep.
Um, uh, yeah, and number two, we also have a panel today for one of our partners, SMB Suite. Great folks down there, and we'll be talking about our 2024 predictions, similar to what Mike did last year. If you missed that, you can see Mike's 2024 predictions on our YouTube channel. Mike, you had a couple other things to start this off. Chrome, big deal this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just get this out of the gate, right? Patch Chrome. There's a 0 day being exploited right now.
Hmm.
The CVE on that is 0519. Check that out. And patching Chrome just means you exit and restart. So, exit and restart. Do that now. Well,
Anything
when
else?
Jake and I are done. Yeah. Well,
Don't restart in the middle.
don't restart in the middle of this, right?
Yeah.
There's also the Avanti. It's a VPN server,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That is being exploited right now, and there is no patch. And China is all over this. And I inspect a lot of data from the Pisces project,
Hmm.
and we see the probing going on and the cocktail of exploits that's being tried all over. So, again, we talked about this. It's a race. So right now there is no patch. You need to put some kind of compensating controls in place, like pull the wire on the damn thing.
That's I rarely hear you say just pull the wire. So
Yeah.
all right.
This is a pull the wire moment.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
big one. Um and the other big news is, this Avanti thing, is not, I mean, this is not a small thing. Like we've heard from customers, we've
Yeah.
heard from some folks who are trying to figure out how to remediate this. I know one organization is trying to figure out, wait, did we get breached? So, big deal.
We are reviewing a lot of VPN logs right now for customers.
Hmm.
Yes, we are.
Hmm. Hmm. So this is a big deal. All right. The other thing, I talked about that panel today about how ransomware folks are targeting end consumers. There's a big article about this in the Seattle Times day before in the Seattle Times about what happened at Fred Hutch,
Yeah.
where so Fred Hutch Cancer Care Center in Seattle, a great organization, targeted by these folks, and then the bad guys emailed customers of Fred Hutch, patients of Fred Hutch, saying, that we're going to SWAT you, we're going to send we're going to call 911 and say that they're as a hostage in your house and the police are going to show up, which didn't actually happen, but it's created unhappiness among customers, Mike,
A
or
lot
patients,
of
patients. Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of anxiety because they're getting contacted by these characters. And, Fred Hutch, great organization, has not done a good job in communicating with them. And that is one of the reasons we're going to do this panel today, is because this tactic has got to inform not only your response, but how you communicate with who are the real victims of it, right? I mean, your organization is a victim.
Hmm.
Now the individuals are being victimized and hassled. And, you know, again, the anxiety level is way up. So,
Yeah.
the guy's quote was, "Not being kept informed is a further negligence that I don't understand, and it's a really lousy way to treat patients." All right, so how you communicate these things reflects right back on you.
And we'll argue about this in the panel today, but I think
Yes, we will.
sometimes your communication can be excellent and you can still have angry patients and
Yeah,
customers and the
yeah,
like. So
this is true.
anyway, we'll talk through it. Okay. Um, the other big thing going on is, more the financial sector seems to really be taking it on the chin from the criminals in Q1 here. I guess Q4 and then Q1. First we had the mortgage breaches, and now there's others.
Ameriprise Financial. So there was Mr. Cooper, First
Hmm.
American Financial, Ameriprise now, and so looks like a trend. And I would, if you are in one of that sector, I'd be paying attention to these stories right here because it looks like there's real targeting going on, and you don't want to be caught up in something that's a trend of the moment for criminals.
Yeah, and just a public service announcement: if your mortgage holder does in fact get hit, you still have to pay your mortgage.
Bummer.
As discussed, was curious, maybe too curious. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. I guess, related in the financial way, but probably not directly related. Mike, the S this the SEC's Twitter account, X account,
Hmm. Hmm.
what so their Twitter X account got taken over, and then somebody sent out fake crypto stuff.
So yeah, so what it was, so first of all, SEC bad on you for having an easily guessed password and failing to use multi-factor authentication, in one of your public communication outlets. Okay, bad
Hmm.
on you, but that's water under the bridge. So what they did was they took over the account and they said, as the SEC, we have authorized an exchange traded fund for Bitcoin, which spiked Bitcoin right away. And
Hmm.
so, they're probably now evaluating who cashed out right away after that.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they'll catch them, but this is exactly the kind of thing that the SEC is in place to prevent, right? And unfortunately, in the days of social media, it's all too easy to do this.
but I do want to throw some shade over at X here, because they I don't think they ever did it, but they publicly toyed with the idea of only allowing 2FA for paid
Right,
accounts.
right.
And I think even talking about that led some folks to say, "Oh, we can't do 2FA." So I mean, even Mandiant, when their Twitter account got taken over, said, "Oh, we didn't have 2FA on it." But I
Hmm.
was reading some comments and reading some opinions on it, and when Twitter said, "Oh, only people who pay more can have two or pay can have 2FA," there it created this, "Oh, can we even have 2FA on it?" So this is a note to all, you know, software providers and everything. Don't only allow 2FA
Yeah.
for folks who pay more. That's just a ridiculous thing. Come
That
on.
is kind of reprehensible. I mean, that's right up there with Microsoft making you pay to get your own security event logs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which they have rescinded that policy, right? So I don't know if old Elon is listening to anybody, though.
I think he's probably listening to this, and let's just appeal
He's,
to him directly.
well,
Um,
let's wait for his question to come up in the comments.
Perfect. Perfect. Hey, international news. There was a big thing this week about Anonymous in Sudan. And this is connected to the Yemen strikes. There's talk about
Yeah,
Mideast
this is a
politics.
bigger
Yeah.
deal than that, though. Okay, so you're right. Anonymous Sudan claims London internet exchange attack over Yemen strikes. All right, if you just read that, you go, they did a denial of service against something.
Hmm.
What the heck is the London internet exchange? Do you know what that is?
I
It's
guess I
it's
don't.
a, it's a peering point. That's where the major networks cross and share traffic. They will hand off traffic for somebody else to deliver that for them. Okay, it's
Oh,
peering.
yeah, that's not
Yes.
good.
No, that's not good. And so the London Internet Exchange is the same as, conceptually, as May West in San
Hmm.
Jose, and in
Hmm.
fact, the Westin building in Seattle, which turns out to be a huge terrorist target. From my days working in government, that was one of the things that we were really concerned about.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you take that down, there is no internet. That's it.
Well, then, it's a big deal. Um, and I mean, over and over, we've seen what's going on in the Middle East, spread into things that actually impact our daily lives.
Yeah.
So, I think you got to keep an eye on that, and organizations need to keep an eye on how that spills over. I mean, the news overnight that uh, you know Pakistan launched a strike inside
Yep.
Iran.
Yep.
Like, these are all things that seem like they're really far away until they're not.
Yeah. Until they're not. And, we have a global network, so nothing is far away.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right, Mike, what do you got for threats and vulns this week?
Let me get to that in just a second. I want to hit one more thing,
Oh
and
yeah, what's up?
this has to do with the DFS in New York State, the Department of
Hmm.
Financial Services.
Hmm.
Just a heads up, because I think this is going to come to more places. It's not just going to be New York. And we talked about the fact that the states are taking on their own regulatory issues to kind of
Yeah, I mean,
mitigate the
Congress is
weirdness of the
enacting.
federal government. Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
who knows what Congress is going to do. So if a state wants it, they're going to have to do it themselves. So
sure.
DFS in New York State has a lot of requirements for their financial sector. The recent one is that CISOs are obligated to personally certify compliance under these requirements. Okay. And so they want to increase the incentives or the disincentives to be more hands on through this process,
Hmm.
or they will risk incurring personal liability. And there was a whole bunch of talk about this when the Uber CISO and the SolarWinds CISO and all these things happen. Right now, it's getting real.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure I brought that up.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about threats and vulnerabilities. We talked about Avanti. The patch is supposed to be out the week of the 22nd. So there's nothing you can do right now except put in place compensating controls. Compensating controls means turn the thing off at this point. And if somebody really needs VPN access, that's just got to be very carefully monitored and managed. Patch Chrome, 0 day, under attack now. Just quit, restart, you're done. Um, let's see. CISA has flagged there's an active exploitation going on with a SharePoint vulnerability. End of life Cisco routers, which are the kind of thing that, hey, I go out and buy to experiment with, and I know some of my peers do as well. Those are being hit by the Chinese, right? The whole Volt Typhoon
Hmm.
gang, state sponsored military. I don't know what it is. Um, GitLab vulnerability.
Hmm.
If you do not have multi-factor authentication, your account can be taken over quite easily. There are 178,000 sonic wall firewalls that are vulnerable to potential remote code execution. It's a little more exotic than normal, and so it's potential, but they are vulnerable to denial of service.
Hmm.
Juniper firewalls, SRX firewalls, and EX switches are vulnerable. Got to get those patched. And there is an Atlassian bug that allows unauthenticated remote code execution, and it's a 10 out of 10 on the CVSS scale. All right. So
Ah,
this
that's
is,
big.
again,
Yeah,
that's it. That's as bad as it gets.
it's as bad as it gets.
Hmm.
All right. Well, at the end of all of these, Mike, you have something funny. You have something. It's a kicker. What do you got?
So, I mean, this is kind of humorous just on the face of the title. Zoom hacker interrupts Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission meeting with porn. Okay, so all right, that gets your attention. All right,
That
so
got my
that brings
attention.
it up in the blast. But
Yeah.
the best part of this is, and some writer struggled with how to write this and really create a perception without crossing a line.
Hmm.
So I'll just read it to you. It says AMCC Executive Director John McMillan, who was in the conference room, said those in the room did not see the porn on the screen, but heard what sounded like a loud gasp. We were concerned that somebody had a heart attack. Okay, that's a great writer. That is a great writer, fitting in that quote just like that. I thought that was funny.
I don't really have anything to respond with on that one. I think I'm just going to get myself into trouble. So I think that's
The
yeah.
loud gasp.
I'm just going to get myself into trouble. That's what's
Okay.
going to happen.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I took the bullet this time.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We will see you later today
Yes.
at the panel. If you need an invite and can't find our website, email me, Jake@criticalinsight.com. And we look forward to seeing you then.
Yep.
Bye,
See you then.
everybody.
Bye bye.